Hello, I'm John Singer, and today we're going to be folding an Asian elephant. Here you can see a model that I've already folded. It's a very sculptural and 3D kind of model with tusks and trunk and tail and legs and big ears and everything. We're going to begin by folding and unfolding on both the diagonals. I'm using a paper called Tant, which is a very nice paper for sort of larger, more complex models. This square is 15 inches. You could go down to a smaller square, maybe 10 inches, 12 inches, or up to a larger square. This paper is the same color on both sides. If you're using paper, it's white on one side. Begin with the white side up. So we fold and unfold both diagonals as a pre-fold. Next, we're going to fold kite base. Folding one edge to the center line, then the opposite edge to create this kite shape, like so. Unfold that and repeat the kite base starting from the opposite corner. So fold the other two edges into the center line. Unfold. Now what we're going to do is turn the model over. Using two colored paper, you're going to have the color side up now. And we're going to fold the edges into the corner. So you find the two opposite corners of where you made your kite base previously. And fold a flap up using those endpoints as landmarks. Like so. Do the same for the opposite side. And pick one point, and I'm going to take the point to the left and fold it over as well, as far as it will go. So we have three corners folded in now. What we're going to do is we're going to take each of these corners and perform a rabbit ear on them. So beginning with this one, fold the raw edge down to the folded edge, like so. And the same with the other one. Okay. Then bring the two folded edges together and your rabbit ear point emerges and flatten it to the right, which is the front of the model. The part to the right is going to become the head. So same thing on this side. Create your rabbit ear. Collapse it to the right. Great. Next, we're going to take the third point, the smaller point, and do a rabbit ear on it as well. So, rabbit ears the whole way around. Everybody gets a rabbit ear. Turn the model over. Now we're going to be concentrating on this point that's going to become the head. We're going to do a little more pre-folding. This is a little like a kite fold on the fourth side that we never did it to. We're going to fold diagonally so the edge meets the center line and the fold should come back to this point right here. So do that for both sides. And of course, if you need to adjust it to make it symmetrical and neat, take the time to do so. Okay, got that. Unfold it. starting from this point back here, again we're going to fold, but this time on a 45-degree angle. So the edge will line up with this existing crease there. Flatten, unfold and flatten. Opposite way. There we go. You'll find you have a nexus of points that cross, all cross right about there. Now we're going to fold this point here towards the back of the model there. So the point touches this indicated spot right here where these two creases cross at an X. Right. Now you have these two square flaps here and here, and what we're going to do is reverse fold on a 45-degree angle. And you'll find that one of the folds, one of the creases for the reverse fold is already made. We did that a couple steps ago. Okay, gotta watch it, make sure your paper isn't ripping, and if it is, hide it. Okay, so there's one reverse fold. Here's the other one. Right. Now, these, if you open up this flap and see these square corners are now inside here and here, we're going to reverse fold them again so that they're flush with that edge. And again, here we have existing creases to guide us, so it's simply a matter of flattening it in the right direction. All right, there, here. Okay, now we're going to take this flap and pull it up as far as it goes, and exposing the creases we just made, so you'll see that it more or less lines up with these two flaps here that we rabbit-eared earlier. They're going to become the front legs. You might want to just turn the model over and check that you're lined up well, and adjust if you need to. Okay, so here we are. Now we're going to take this flap, and we're actually going to liberate this trap paper. We're going to pull it back like so and flatten it. Okay, and the same thing on this side. Okay, now we're going to fold the model in half. Turn the model over and fold this flap here towards the tail. Like so. Okay, good. Now, turn it over again. We're going to fold the model in half. And as we do, we're going to bring this forward like this. Okay, so there we are, and then we're actually also going to do this guy in here. We're going to reverse fold it at a 45-degree angle like so, and then we're going to flatten that as we fold the model in half. So here we are now. Continuing here, next we're going to sink this square corner here. To do that, you sort of have to unfold the model a little bit and just kind of drop in a square shape like that. Start it on two sides and so. And then once it gets going, it starts to collapse. You'll sort of kind of have that kind of form, and then you just flatten it back like so. Okay, there we go. Next we're going to crimp using that mountain fold and this valley fold to form the head. And all you do is hinge it on existing creases like so. Then we're going to do a reverse fold here. And this forms basically the tusk. Okay, so one of the creases is an existing crease. The other is a new crease, like so, and on the other side too. Kind of open it up, and there we go. Okay. Now we're going to thin the tusk here by folding over a layer. This is basically a swivel fold or reverse fold. And we start by folding over a single layer of paper, like so, right down there. Now, if you were using two-color paper, this would create a color change effect right here. And then the inside we just sort of flatten. If you want to open up the trunk and look inside, you see that this crease here, this new crease, is parallel to this outside crease. So that's the move. And then, like I said, you just flatten the whole thing like so. Okay, and then we're going to turn over and repeat behind. So just narrow. And flatten. Okay. Now we're going to create the front leg. And we do that by taking this flap here, lifting it up, and right here you kind of roll the paper forward and create a new crease. Like so, right there. Okay, then with that, you just simply flatten back. The remaining part is pretty much like a squash fold or something like that. Okay, so there you go. There's your flap converted to a leg. Turn over and repeat. Again, we just start by pushing in on this point right here. And we create a new crease down to the corner of the paper, like so. And then we just flatten the front edge, and where the new crease up here on the top intersects the old crease, then we make a little pleat to form the back side of the front leg. Okay, there we go. Those are our front legs. Next, we're going to set up the hip and the hind leg. We begin by folding a pre-crease there, and this is parallel to here, and you will find that there's inside a layer of paper there that makes it easy to find this mark by feel. Okay, so then we take that fold. Actually, we should fold it both ways. We're going to use that to create a crimp. That's going to be the mountain fold part of a crimp. We crimp the whole back part of the body. Like so. Okay, just be careful here, because you want to obviously not wrinkle the model or anything like that. Okay, so like so, and you see how this crease, or this edge now, is basically perpendicular to that edge. And I'm actually going to scooch mine in just a hair more. Of course, this is, you know, one of the places where you can give your model some interpretation, some character by varying that angle. Okay, next we're going to develop the feet. I'm going to start by pulling out this, actually, yeah, we're going to do a reverse fold. Like so. From this point to about the middle here. Then what we're going to do is open up and unwrap this bottom layer and re-flatten. And now we have a square corner on the foot. Like so. Okay, so we're going to turn it over and repeat. Do a reverse. Just set it up. And then pull out this flap and re-flatten it in a new way, like so. Okay. Next we're going to form the feet themselves. So start with the front one, and we're going to pre-crease here. Let's basically bring that point to here, and then use that as the start of a crimp. So the crimp creates basically your elephant foot here, and elephant feet are big and massive, so we're going to continue working on it here. We're going to blunt the toe, like so, and then we're going to fold a layer in to flatten it, like so, and a matching layer on the reverse side. Okay, now on the back, we're going to do a similar move, and if this turns out to be a little too claw-like, you can always blunt it again. It's good to have some stiffness right in the foot here. Okay, so for the back, we're going to do a simplified version of that sort of thing. We're just going to basically crimp a little bit through the all the layers of the model here. And since it's asymmetrical, but the inside doesn't show anyway, it doesn't matter here, but you can end up with that kind of toe there, and then you can fold the layer underneath so that this is flat, and eventually it should line up with the ground. You'll have a chance to adjust that at the end. Okay, so now we're going to do the same set of steps on the reverse side. Okay, so continuing now, we've created the feet on the reverse side. And now we're ready to work on the tail. So we pull out this flap back here, and then what we do is we're going to reverse fold. And this goes inside to some degree. What we want it sticking out like so. Then what we're going to do is reverse fold, or like a swivel fold. There's an existing mountain there, you swing that in as far as it'll go, and you flatten this one here, like so. Okay, then we repeat behind. Swing it in, and flatten. Okay. Now we're going to narrow the tail again, so basically start from the tip, swing a layer up, and flatten it to the inside like so. This is a little bit like the same move we did for the tusks. Okay, turn it over and repeat. Start from the tip, swing it up, and then flatten to the inside, like so. Okay, next we get the outside reverse fold. helps to pre-fold that. First one way and then the other. And just open it up. And flatten. And then finish it by reversing the tail again, the tip, like so. Alright, so there's our tail. Now we're pretty much up to sculpting. So, find this little square point here that's sticking out. We're going to want to sink that. This can be either a closed or an open sink, whichever is easier for you. I think an open sink, then you just kind of open it up and push it flat and put it in. Okay, and we're going to narrow under the belly and under the neck. Just going to reposition the angle of the head. So take the whole thing, grab it by the tusks and grab it by here and gently pull, and then flatten it again. You'll see a little bit of kind of new creases and shifted creases right here in the back of the ear. That's okay. Right, so our head is higher, that's good. Okay, so now there's a layer here that goes from under the ear to the back of the front leg, and you can just fold that right in with a mountain fold, you see right there. Okay, and same thing with behind. Okay, then there's a layer inside. You can sort of have to start by pulling it away from the back of the front leg, like so. And you flatten that right out. And then you just bring that back towards the back of the model. And here again, at the back edge, you'll sort of squash that flat. Like so, thinning up the body. Okay, and we're gonna repeat that last step on the other side. So again, start by pulling some paper out behind the front leg, like so. Carry this fold back and finish with a swivel fold in the back. Okay, there we go. It's time to make the model 3D. We can't really go any further. So we're going to actually puff it open right about there and make a new crease like so. From here down to here. Okay, and we're going to repeat on the other side too. And I got to take care to make these two folds the same. And this will also sort of flatten out the back a little bit, which is okay. Okay, there we go. So now you have this sort of contoured dimensional back. We're going to do a little sink type maneuver in the head right up here. We're just going to kind of push in on that point. This isn't a full sink, this is sort of a three-dimensional fold. There you go, you end up with something shaped like that. And then towards the back, you can carry that back and create a bit of a separation for the ears. Sometimes I'll sink this point right here, but not this time. I kind of like it the way it is. That's one of those sculptural decisions you can make. Okay, now the head. Actually, one more thing before we do that. I'm going to put a little pleat right here in the back of the back legs. This will kind of draw the legs forward a little bit. So right back there. And then you can finish that with a little swivel fold on the inside. And that will lock that crease in place and tend to narrow the belly. So again, this is a question of attitude, because some elephants have sort of big, fat, saggy bellies, and others, this one is going to look a little more leaner and muscular. Okay, so again, we'll do a little crimp right there. And then do a little swivel to lock it in place. This point we got a lot of layers here too, so you need to have a fair bit of strength to accomplish this, but if you're using thin paper, it should be just fine. Or, you know, moderately thin paper. This is fairly thick for folding, but it's still thin compared to a lot of other papers. Okay, so there we go. That's pretty much the back half of the model. We'll get to final sculpting eventually, but I'm going to work on the head now. So I'm going to create a sort of a, I guess it's a kind of a pleat, but it's a three-dimensional fold. There's a mountain fold and a valley fold. They don't go to the edge, they do go to this spot right there in the middle where they meet. And then it sticks up and becomes 3D. Now if you have the patience, you can sort of take that point and make it into an eye. But for now, for this demo, it's just going to be a point. That's a final sculpting detail. And do it on the other side too. So these 2 points should match. That's important, because this is the face of the animal right here. Like so. Okay. And as you see now, the tusks are sort of flush to the trunk. Okay, so we're going to lock that in and narrow the trunk at the same time by folding a layer underneath here, like so. And you can see that this tapers the trunk, but you don't go all the way out to the point here. Okay. Now we're going to narrow and curve the tusks. And that's just essentially a rabbit ear, but you don't finish it when you get into the base of the model. Instead, you can sort of take this layer and wrap it underneath like that, and that gives you a, you know, because it's a curved fold, it gives you a little extra strength to hold the 3D form into shape. So there you go, curve one tusk, and same thing over here. So again, you start just by folding it in half at the tip, and then taking this inner layer and folding it back, curved to about the back of where it goes. And then you take the tusk itself and you bend it. And again, if you were using two-colored paper, the tusks would be white, which is a cool effect. Okay, so now we more or less have our body form. We need to finish the front feet. So you can fold back here a little bit of a mountain fold just to give the leg a bit more shape. And then kind of puff it up a little bit so it's 3D. Push in on the front. You know, these are, you know, slightly caricature legs because they're you know, actually wider in the front or wider at the bottom than they are at the top. But, you know, it's to emphasize that pillar-like quality of elephant legs, how they're, you know, huge and massive. Okay, so we got that. You can put in a little crimp right behind the front leg. So also make the body a bit more 3D. Come up to here, to that shoulder point. And just lay that in. Okay, that's not really necessary, and you can let it spring out a little too if you want. But it's, you know, it works, it's good. Same thing there. Okay, so, all right, pretty much all that's left at this point is the trunk itself. So start by just folding underneath like that, and then unfold. And now you can finish the trunk any way you want. Sometimes I make it going down, sometimes I make it going up. I think this time I'm going to make it going up. So I'll just lay in like 2 or 3 or 4 folds like that to sort of set it up. Okay, so to finish the trunk then, I'm just going to lay in a a few folds like so, and then I'm going to make them into pleats like that. See, one, here's a second, and here's a third. And if you want, you can spread out the tip of the trunk just a little bit. If you have small fingers or some kind of tool, there's a little layer in there that you can sort of open up. Or you can just sort of leave it like so. So my elephant is sort of waving hello. Okay, and then it's just down to final sculpting and posing. This is a good model to wet fold, but of course it's not really necessary. In fact, this one looks just fine without it. Oh, one other thing you can do is behind the tail, sort of give a sort of back of the knees sort of fold here, and that's just a little, you know, valley fold kind of thing. Alright, so there you go. Here's your Asian elephant. Thank you very much. Hope you enjoy.